Hey girl, do you wish you could make your healthy habits stick, but life keeps getting in the way? Are you tired of diet culture telling you to shrink yourself when you'd rather just find true food freedom, move your body for joy, and feel and look good in your favorite leggings? Then you're in the right place. Think of this as Atomic Habits for Women. Hey, I'm Emily Nichols, habit and fitness coach, millennial mom, and Taco Tuesday enthusiast. I'm here to tell you there is an easier way than what we've been taught about health and our habits. How do I know? Because I've gone from former chronic dieter to habit hacker through the power of the system that I'm now going to teach you so you can finally stop dieting and just train for life via your habits. Remember, it's not your fault your healthy habits haven't stuck. We just have to do them differently. Are you ready to habit hack your health? Then let's do this. You're listening to episode 234 of Habit Hack Your Health. Hey friend, welcome back to the show. We are moving right along in our food freedom habit hacking series today. And I'm so glad we're doing this. And we're really shedding light on what true food freedom means and not dieting. I do not like dieting. I don't even like the word. And really focusing on habit hacking your food freedom instead. You know, this is all part of my Atomic Habits for Women philosophy that I teach inside of my signature course, the Healthy Habits Accelerator pod course. It's all audio because everything I do, I'm trying to think of how can this be easy for you? This is the easy way. And I actually give you a 21-day plan at the end of the course that y'all, it works. Trust me, it works because I do it too. So go grab it. It's linked in the show notes for you all the time. So why am we focusing on food freedom and doing this series here in January, the new year? I mean, this is 2024 when I'm recording this. You could listen to this 5 years from now and this still applies for you. Well, it's because dieting's at the forefront of our minds. And diet culture, one of the things we really try to habit hack together in my courses and everything that we do here on this show really has made, eating in general really overwhelming and really complicated. And we don't need that. We just don't need that in our life. But in doing research, with it being the new year, I was curious what's like the percentage of like diets that fail or whatever, or resolutions. And in doing research for today, it said, the top 3 failed New Year's resolutions are number 1, to diet or eat healthier. 54% of folks failed. The second was to exercise more. 44% failed. And the last one was 41% failed to lose weight. So diets don't work. Diets suck. There's so many out there when really we just need to simplify this. And I really wanted to just shed some light during this series, especially in January, on more of the common challenges I heard from you all as like a millennial mom. Like if you're like me, I'm 42. I have tried so many diets. I ate the SnackWell cookies. I watched my mom do Weight Watchers. I watched her go to like ladies only and do those step classes too. Did you guys ever have a gym like that where you were? I went with one to a step class with her when I was in high school and I left because I couldn't keep up, which is so funny because I'm a fitness instructor now. But one of the challenges that I've heard from you all specifically that we're working on together with some of my really great friends who have been guests on the show before is emotional eating. So we announced the Habit Hacking Masterclass Emotional Eating Edition is now live today, January 8th through the 21st, 2024. And it was totally created with you in mind. It's easy to listen to, and it has that Atomic Habits for Women philosophy. Okay, so what this is a private podcast feed with myself and 5 other amazing food freedom experts giving you some tips to help you habit hack emotional eating. And we're doing this without guilt, without shame, but rather leading with empowerment and empathy and some actionable items to help you emotionally eat. Now, I'm not going to say you're never going to emotionally eat again. That's not realistic. I'll probably emotionally eat sometime this week. I don't know. It probably depends on where I'm at in my cycle. But we want you to feel empowered and intentional in your eating choices. That way you don't ever feel like you have to diet again and you're able to feel that food freedom that's personal to you. So go grab it. It's available at habithackingmasterclass.com. It's totally free. Okay, it's totally free, and there's free resources from each of our speakers as well. So I host a masterclass every quarter with other amazing contributors, and we did this last fall. The course is available now in the shop if you want to go grab that. We talked all about making time for your habits. We'll host another one next quarter around movement as well. So I'm really excited about today's guest. And this is perfect timing talking about this food freedom habit hacking series. And we're going to chat about your metabolism over 40. I honestly feel like I personally like emotionally eat now more than I did in my 20s due to like a heavier load. Like, you know, you have that invisible load. I feel like internally I have more tabs open. I carry more of like my children's emotions because I have a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. Like, you know what I'm saying. They're boys, but you know what I'm saying. And it just feels heavier. And you know, sometimes you turn to emotional eating more, or maybe you're a little bit more stressed, or maybe you're not sleeping as well. You know, I'm 42. I'm like what you consider an elder millennial. Like, I still love my 2000s hip hop, and I kind of stopped wearing skinny jeans, but I still kind of secretly love them. I don't know. And I thinking of like my body and my habits the past couple of years, things have changed. You know, I'm a pretty active person. Like I said, I'm a group fitness instructor, but things aren't moving and grooving like they used to, and like the way my body is and where I'm storing fat. And I know I need more protein, and I need to stop being so overscheduled. And honestly, I don't have very good consistent sleep habits because I coach a couple of 6 classes a week at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and 7:10, and I get up at 3:50 on those days. I know it's so early, and I do not go to bed early enough because I like to spend time with my husband before I go to sleep. So if you're like me, you might think, okay, I turned 42, like maybe things have just like shifted because maybe I'm in pre-menopause. Maybe I'm premenopausal. Or maybe we just think maybe this is just the season of life that I'm in and my lifestyle and my habits. So we're going to demystify what happens to your metabolism over 40 today with our guest, Michele Riechman. She's a personal trainer, yoga teacher, and health coach with her doctorate in physical therapy. She's so cool, y'all. She is the host of the Healthy Beyond 40 podcast, and she helps women who have put themselves on the back burner finally get in shape, optimize their metabolism, and lose weight for good without dieting. She is speaking my love language, right? Y'all, this is such a good conversation and much needed. So take notes. Michele breaks this down very simple for us, and she likes to focus on habits just like we do. So she's speaking our love language. Now, as always, make sure to stick around till the end of the episode. I'll share my top 3 takeaways for you, and more than likely a habit loop. So let's go enjoy this conversation with Michele. Okay, gang, thank you so much again for tuning in to Habit Hack Your Health. Y'all are going to love this episode. I know you're so going to relate if you're a millennial mom like me in your early 40s. I have Michele Riechman of the Healthy Beyond 40 podcast here. Michele, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have this conversation. I am full into my what is healthy beyond 40, like what does health look like for me now in this stage of my life. And I know this is going to be such a juicy conversation. But the first question I ask every guest is, what is your favorite habit hack you have going on right now in your life?
Yeah. So I love using habits. That's what I use for myself and my clients when we're trying to get healthy. One thing that I'm really using so I have this business of mine online, I'm a mom, I have all these other responsibilities, doing a little bit of time blocking. So having like a time block for my housework, a little time block to meal plan each week and go to the grocery store and to clean my house, and separating those things out and putting specific time on my calendar for those has really helped me. So having that weekly habit of like, hey, this is when I'm going to meal plan. It's going to pop up. I'm going to remember to do it. And putting that stuff on my calendar has really helped not to blur things together. Because when it all blurs together, housework, cleaning, meal plan, working out, business, all these things, we let some of it slide. And we let some of those important things slide that really help us to feel good and have our week go smoother.
I mean, that is the whole philosophy behind, like, we talk about atomic habits for women and why we have to do habits differently, because we will bleed all that together and then things just fall off the radar, especially the most
Yeah.
important ones, taking care of ourselves. So I love that habit hack. Well, let's talk about you a little bit. What has led you into what you do today and who you are today?
Yeah. So I have my degree in physical therapy. So I have a doctorate in physical therapy. That's what I went to college for. But the whole time, I've always had a passion for health and fitness. And especially after I had my third child, I remember I'm a mom of four. So after my third child, I was going up a flight of stairs and I was out of breath. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I am way too young for this. Like, this isn't how I want to live my life. And it only goes downhill. You're only going to get more out of shape as you get older. So I'm like, okay, like it doesn't take long to go up a flight of stairs. Like, I don't have to go run a 5K. I don't have to do anything super long. Let's start with small workouts. So I started with 10-minute workouts and really just went back to the basics of nutrition because there's so many diets, there's so much information out of there. But most of us just need to go back to the basics of healthy eating. So when I started to implement these things, I started to feel better. I started to get back in shape. And so I use this at the core of what I do with all my clients and encourage them to do because so many people are overwhelmed by so much information. They don't know how to start. And it seems like things are so complicated. Like I have to work out for a long time. All these things take a long time and I don't have it. But we can really go back to let's keep things simple. Let's stick to the most important things and start to develop some systems and habits along the way to make this easier.
I love that so much. I actually just was recording an episode that's airing before this one about getting back to the basics of just physical fitness and how it can give you more energy and like the basics of it, not just like working out hard to like look a certain way, but it's like to have energy to keep up with my kids, to train for life, right? Life is hard. We need to have the physical endurance and mental, spiritual, emotional, all the pieces and components to help us do that. So I love that so much. Well, metabolism. That's what I really want to talk about today because I think that is such a hot topic. I'm personally interested in it as a 42-year-old mom. I know the ladies listening are as well. I feel like it's something a lot of folks are talking about on other podcasts, on social media. So let's just break it down. Start with the basics here, Michele. What is our metabolism?
Yeah. So metabolism is these chemical reactions that happen in our body as our body changes food into energy because what we eat is meant to be used for energy to move our muscles, to help us breathe, to do all these different things. So that's the basic of what metabolism is. So when people think that their metabolism is slowing down, they feel like this whole process that their body ends up storing more calories and they're not burning off as much. So things that go into metabolism are like our movement. So not talking exercise here, but just how much are we moving around? Are we getting in steps, cleaning, different things like that is movement. Our muscle mass helps to improve our metabolism too. So the more muscle we have, the more calories we're going to burn doing nothing. So if I have 50 pounds of muscle and this person has 30 pounds of muscle, I'm going to burn a lot more calories doing nothing. So muscle mass plays into that. So, and also the food we eat is going to play into our metabolism since a lot of those chemical reactions that happen is managed by different hormones in our body. The foods we eat are going to affect the hormones that come into play and how all that plays out. And of course, there can also be like thyroid hormones going to affect our metabolism. Even some of the female hormones are going to, but there's a lot within our lifestyle. So things that we can do to improve our metabolism. So it's not all like out of our control. There's a lot that we can do.
Yeah, and I think you're so right. It's just a lot of times about lifestyle choices and kind of digging deep into like, well, if I'm sitting behind a desk all day, how can I habit hack this in a way to get some more movement in throughout the day? Not like I need to leave and like do like a hardcore workout. It's so much more simple than that. And it's really the compound effect, how that all adds up over time, right? Well,
Mhm.
let's dig into some of those habits a little bit deeper as well. So what type of exercise can help our metabolism?
Yeah. So first, I differentiate a little bit. So I want to differentiate movement versus exercise. So movement is just taking steps, moving your body. People are tracking their steps for that 10,000 goal. That's what we're talking about, movement. Exercise, on the other hand, is where our muscles are burning or we're getting our heart rate up. So when it comes to our metabolism, we actually only want to exercise a little, but we want to move a lot. So this is how we have developed as humans. So exercise a little where muscles are burning or you're out of breath, move a lot every day. So we have to figure out how to incorporate this into our life because most of us are pretty sedentary. Our society, most of us have sitting jobs. We're just not that active. So how can we get more of this movement in? And how can we get a little bit of this exercise in where we're strength training, where we're building muscle? Because especially as we get older, if we are not strength training, and strength training, you're going to feel when those muscles are burning. So maybe you are using weights, maybe you're doing body weight, maybe you're doing yoga and those muscles are burning. That's where the muscle breaks down and builds up. And that's what we want to keep and maintain as we get older. That's going to keep our metabolism strong. It's just going to help us feel better. Like if we can get up a flight of stairs, walk over a hill, pick up a kid, whatever that is, and do that with more ease, we're just going to feel better. But that also is helping our metabolism. So we have to figure out how can we get more movement into our day. So maybe that is even things like standing up and swaying at your desk. If you have to be at a computer, just moving a little bit. How can I clean a little bit more or whatever that is to get that steps in? Or maybe I'm going out for intentional walks. Maybe I'm putting music on and I'm dancing. So I'm increasing that movement in a way that also can be fun. And then how can I sprinkle in some ways that I'm going to build my muscle mass, that I can do some strength training at home? I'm all about doing exercise at home if it works for you, because for me, to go to the gym, to work out, to come back, that was like an hour and a half to 2 hour process. At home, it's 30 minutes or less, and it makes it easy to do. So this isn't stuff you have to go to a gym for. It's things you can do right at your home to start building your muscle mass.
I think that is so important to note what you just said, Michele. More movement, less exercise, because I'm sure everyone listening maybe would flip that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like a relief for some people too, because
Yeah.
movement's easier to do. Your kids can be at a soccer practice and you can like walk around. You can do this with friends and other people.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of times we get to a certain point where we're like, oh my gosh, I've tried like every type of workout. I tried every type of exercise class. Or you're like, I just don't like going. Like the logistics of like, okay, now I got to get myself ready, make sure everyone else is taken care of. Okay, now I got to drive there. Then I'm going to do the class or like just work out at the gym. Then I have to drive home. Then I got to take a shower. Then I got to do this. And oh, I have a call that I have to get on right after that. It's very overwhelming. So if you can make it, like you said, as simple as possible and incorporate movement throughout the day and be really strategic with what type of exercises you're going to do, make them effective and not take a lot of time, and focus on building that muscle mass. Because like you said, that will burn more fat. It'll give you more energy over time. Like that's where it's at.
Yeah, yeah. And as we're talking about exercise, I just want to mention cardio here. So when it comes to metabolism, some people, it can actually stress their metabolism. So when you're doing cardio, you're burning a lot of calories in one amount of time. If you're doing strength training, you burn a little bit of calories, but after that, because the muscles have to rebuild, you're burning calories after. So you sort of get that afterburn. So what happens with some people with cardio, and it's not everybody, but that they burn so many calories at once, their hunger hormones bump up. And then they're in this vicious cycle of feeling starving, needing to eat. So if you enjoy cardio and you're not seeing this, go ahead and keep doing it. But if you feel like you should be doing cardio, maybe just take a step back. Maybe try it and notice if you're noticing, I am super hungry, I'm famished, I'm eating more, it's not helping me with my weight loss journey or whatever that is. So noticing how your body responds, and a good exercise that has a lot of scientific evidence with it right now is HIIT. So it's 2 I's, high intensity interval training. So you're doing short amounts of working hard, and this can incorporate some strength training and that cardio aspect. And then you take a rest. And you do hit for a short session, 10 to 20 minutes. So you're not doing it long, but it can be a great way to get a little bit of cardio to also do that strength without stressing your metabolism like cardio would.
Yeah, I think that's important to know. I'm been kind of joking around with friends lately. I'm like, I'm in my low impact girly era because I went through like that time where like I was running and like running half marathons and I was going to Orange Theory at the same time. And I'm at this point in this season of life that I'm in where I'm like, I just want to walk and ride my Peloton and do yoga and just focus on like kettlebells right now because it's a different form of strength training that I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying. And I feel like I'm seeing more physical changes in my body now more than ever.
Yeah. And some people get that like runner's high from any type of cardio. So it can keep you doing it, which it may work for you or it may be good. But just like you're saying, there might be different seasons in life where you need to adjust what you're doing to see how it's working for you.
Yeah, our bodies are such an experiment sometimes if you give it time, for sure. Well, what about the foods that we eat? How can that affect our metabolism?
Yeah, so the foods we eat, everything you put into your mouth is going to affect your hormones. It's going to affect your body. So it really goes back to the basics. We should eat more whole foods. Most of us know this. But when we eat more whole foods, we're getting the nutrients we need. We're getting fiber and vitamins and minerals, and it really helps our hormones and our body to function better. It's typically more filling, and we absorb less calories. So when we're thinking of metabolism here, when people like to count calories, it's not always like an exact science because if we have an apple and let's say that's 100 calories, it's going to have fiber in it. If we have a granola bar that's 100 calories, and typically those are sugary filled, what's going to happen is our body is going to absorb all those calories from the granola bar. From the apple, the same amount of calories, it's not going to absorb quite all those because it has to break it down. So it takes energy doing that. And the same thing, protein, it takes the body a lot more energy to break down. So just looking at your calories can give you a guide, but it doesn't tell the whole story. So that's this idea of going back to eating more whole foods is also going to help your metabolism work better. And bringing up protein, when we're looking at our metabolism, trying to get protein at every meal or snack is helpful. That's going to help to fill you up. And especially as we age and as we get even older, 50s and 60s, our body doesn't process protein as well. So we actually need a little bit more. And then we also want to make sure we're getting non-starchy vegetables. So that is things we're going to exclude the potatoes, the corn, but those non-starchy vegetables, we need to incorporate more. That helps our gut, and our gut is going to affect our metabolism.
I think it's just so like it's so the basics, but we've been grown up in a culture like eating like diet cookies and like quick like warm up 100-calorie meals or whatever, and we're in such a hurry and we need convenience. And I think it's rethinking the way you see convenience and being like, okay, well, I can eat a higher volume of food if I'm fueling up on quality protein and veggies and fruits and whatnot, and my body's going to process that differently. Like you said, it could be the same calories, but it's going to be a lot more effective for your metabolism if you're doing whole foods. So maybe it's taking a step back and looking at your habits around what you're eating and having those foods on hand so you're not going for the quick fixes, but you have quick quality foods to eat on hand.
Yeah, and I think so many people, it's hard to do anything new. So when you're trying to eat something different, it's hard because you're developing a new habit in your brain. And that's going to take a while to do because you have to meal plan it, you have to grocery shop. But when you maybe start focusing, let's just say you're going to focus on your breakfast and making that more whole foods, making that better. So when you do that for a few months and now you have a few things in your rotation, that becomes easy. But when you start it, it's a struggle. It takes a lot of thought, it takes a lot of brain energy. But if you stick with it, it's going to get easier and easier. And then, like with habits, if I focused on my breakfast first, now what can I do for my lunch or my dinner and start working towards that and taking a more step by step process instead of our diet culture that tells you to dramatically change everything you're eating right away. And then you can't stick with it.
weird, right? Like, and we know this because we've all been like on a Monday morning, like Sunday night, we sat down and planned out, like, I'm going to do this workout for like Monday through Saturday, and I'm going to meal prep, and I'm going to do this. And it's just too overwhelming. It's too
Yeah.
overwhelming. Like you said, starting a new habit takes brain power. And we say this all the time on the show. I have a lot of tabs open in my head, and to open up one new tab to be like, I'm changing up what I have for breakfast takes energy. And that could take some time, right? 21, 90 days for it to feel not hard anymore. And we're in such a hurry where it's like, just slow down, let it become a habit until maybe it doesn't feel so good anymore. Maybe you need to change it up, right? Like I like to have a lot of the same things to eat. And then I'll notice like, I don't want to have this. Then I have to start the loop over again, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think so many people that I work with, we typically start with maybe 2 or 3 habits at a time, depending what they are. And then they're like, this is all you want me to do? Like, yes, this is all we're going to do. We can reevaluate next week, but most likely it's probably going to be a few weeks. There's still things we're going to be working on and working out with those, because as you start these new habits, struggles are going to pop up around them. So you need that brain space to work through those struggles so that you can maintain that consistency in what you're trying to change.
Well, and it's all about those small wins over time. Because if you're trying to do it all and you feel like you're failing in quotes, then you're just like, well, I'm just, it's all or nothing. Then I'll just do nothing.
Yes, the all or nothing. That is a big thing that I hear from people, especially when it comes to our health. Because I think it goes back to our diet culture a little bit, where we're following this strict diet. So we're sort of all in. And then most likely we can't sustain that. So then we're all out and we're giving up. Or like, hey, we're having this birthday party this weekend and I ate whatever. So now I'm just going to give up. But it's really finding out this way to maintain consistency and to enjoy things and being able to set your habits up so that you are making them 90% of the time, but it allows you to, hey, I'm going to intentionally enjoy this cake that my grandma makes that I really like, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. So we have to get to that point where we have that flexibility, but we're still maintaining consistency for the most part.
I mean, and that just feels so much better. And I feel like when you're in your 40s, you're at the point where you're like, I've tried it all. I just want to feel good. I want to feel energetic. I don't want to diet. I want to be able to like have, a fun Mexican dinner with my girlfriends and not feel like I have to like restrict myself the next day. But I think once we reach our 40s, sometimes, which I think is really important to know, all of these tips sound like, okay, basic, simple, let's do it. But does our metabolism start to change a little bit though as we age, especially like 40 plus?
Yeah. So really what happens is our metabolism starts to change a little bit in our 60s. But what happens is that we have changed so much. So typically in our 20s, 30s, we start to slow down. So that movement piece, we're moving less. If we think about like a toddler, they are like constant motion. We can't even keep up with them. It feels too exhausting. And so eventually, as we're a kid, maybe in college, we're still walking some, but eventually we start slowing down. And when we do that and we have less movement in our day, our metabolism slows down. And then let's add on, we have a job or we have kids and we're super stressed. And then we might stress eat. We're not making time to care for ourselves. We're stressed. Our cortisol goes up, which might affect our metabolism too. So we add that on top. And then we're not grabbing those healthy foods and we're grabbing more things that are quick, and that's affecting it. So typically what happens is all these pieces in our lifestyle make it look like our metabolism is slowing down. And there are some people that have thyroid problems or other things that's going to be different. But for the most part, take a look and think about, has your lifestyle changed? Are you moving less? Are you stressed more? Are you more anxious? Are you not sleeping enough? What are you eating? Because all those things are going to add up. And the great thing is we have control over those things, and we can start to step by step make changes to our habits and what we're doing to improve this and support our body as much as we can. And even if someone has low thyroid and they're gaining weight, they need to work with a doctor, but they also need to be doing these lifestyle things too. And that's also going to help their body function better.
Gosh, I hope everyone listening, if you're in your 40s and you feel like, oh my gosh, like, why isn't anything working like it used to? Like you just said, Michelle, kind of take a step back and look at the lifestyle choices you're making and know that, hey, it's not your fault. Like, you feel this way. Like, there's just so many factors coming at you. And if we step back with some intention and really look at our lifestyle, healthy habits, and do some of the things that you just mentioned that are actually pretty simple. Getting started is the hardest part. You can really help support your metabolism the way you want to. It's not necessarily that you're like, oh, I'm 40, like I just can't do the things I used to do. Like, no, we just need to evaluate our habits and lifestyle.
Yeah, and really finding whatever place you feel the most likely to take some action in, starting there and then slowly adding on these other things. And I mentioned it real briefly, but things like stress, not sleeping, all of those things can affect how our body and hormone is working too. For example, if you are super stressed, your blood sugar might spike without any food in it because stress and all these other things affect our body. And of course, we're not going to like not have any stress at all. And it's something I'm always working on, but it's going back to that. How can I take care of myself? What's going to help support my body?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth because I was like, okay, we're busy. We're like overscheduled, overstimulated. We're like professional Uber drivers for our kids. We're just so busy and we have a lot of responsibilities coming at us and a lot of internal and external distractions. And I feel like stress can play just such a factor into all of these other healthy habits. So what are some maybe low stress, healthy habits that we could incorporate throughout our day to help with that metabolism and to help you maybe lower those cortisol levels and feel less stress?
Yeah, I always make sure you're starting where you're ready to start. Because if you're having too much resistance, you're not going to make that change and stick to it. So I think some great ways to start is that daily movement piece. I'm really thinking like, what movement do I enjoy? Or if you're like, I hate any movement, like how can I sort of flip that a little bit and start to enjoy it? So maybe on my walk, I'm combining music. Maybe I like to listen to podcasts. Whatever it is, how can I add a little enjoyment or talking to a friend? So we start to move our body more. And it's a bonus if you can do it outside. There's really a lot of science about being outside and that helping to reduce those stress hormones too. And then other routines like doing yoga. I really like yoga because it incorporates that deep breathing, it incorporates that focus, and you get to move your body, you get to stretch it, you get to strengthen it, and it's all incorporated into one thing. So that can be helpful. Maybe having a way that you do prayer and scripture, or a way that you're sitting in stillness and doing meditation, and alternating these things about what you really need in that moment. And I think one other thing I like to do a lot with clients is starting with their breakfast. Because when you start your day with a healthier breakfast and a breakfast that balances your blood sugar, so you're not getting that big spike, and I call it the blood sugar roller coaster. So if you can start your day, you just feel more confident about yourself, even if the rest of the day doesn't go as planned, or even if you don't eat as healthy as you want. If you could just start with starting your breakfast, whenever that is, that first meal of the day, starting that as a healthy, very intentional meal, I think that's a good starting place too.
I think that's a really great place to start because a lot of times I think we're conditioned to have a sugary breakfast, to have something quick and on the go. Or we might have like a protein bar, which we're like, oh yeah, I'm getting in protein. But you're like, did you see how much sugar is in that thing? You're gonna crash later, girlfriend. So being intentional. Like I love hard boiled eggs and I keep those on hand just to have like a quick protein if I need something really quick or like on
Yeah.
mornings where I'm coaching and I'm like, I need something in my body so I don't crash later
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I think that's great. And just like you said, starting to make these things quick, having that hard boiled egg. You can also make egg muffins, basically your scrambled egg, cook it in a muffin tin, you can freeze it, and then you have it. But you're removing that resistance to doing something by making it easier.
Gosh. And that's what it all is about habit hacking, right? You gotta make it so easy that there's no way that you cannot not do it. And you do it and you feel accomplished and it just snowballs from there. It just snowballs from there. So,
Yeah.
ladies, you are a little bit more in control of your metabolism than you think you are for most cases. And I really hope today you feel a little bit more enlightened and empowered to take care of yourself and know that it's not your fault that your habits haven't been working for you. You just have to do them a little bit differently, especially with a lot of these tips that Michele has given us today. So thank you so much for this conversation. I could talk to you all day about metabolism and healthy habits and all the things, but where can everyone connect with you and find out more about you?
Yeah. So in your favorite podcast app, just head to Healthy Beyond 40 and follow the show. And feel free to look at some different episodes about what you need. So fitness, exercise, blood sugar, sugar cravings. Look in there and see if you can find an episode that you need in your life right now that you sort of feel a little stuck in. And then you can always check out my website, michelleriechman.com, to find out more about me and how to work with me.
Super. Michele, thank you so much. We'll make sure to link everything in the show notes so everyone can connect with you. But I so appreciate you, friend. Thanks for connecting with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You guys, wasn't that so good, Michele? Thank you so much. I hope you feel seen, friend, and that, maybe it's just taking a look at your habits. I mean, I definitely think it's good to maybe see like a functional doctor, get your levels checked, and have some data, right? We always love to have not just the feelings, but the facts as well, which is, spoiler, the first step in my habit hacking system that I teach in my program. But I really hope you kind of take a look at your habits and lifestyle and see like, hey, it's not my fault. I just need to do habits differently, right? It's that Atomic Habits for Women philosophy. So let's go ahead and talk about my 3 biggest takeaways. So number 1, maybe it's not your age, maybe it's your lifestyle, kind of what I just alluded to. Like, in really thinking about myself, I'm like, gosh, I'm not sleeping as well. I'm holding on to a lot of extra stress. And those higher cortisol levels make what you're doing as far as like healthy eating and movement not working as well anymore. So take a look at other factors besides just your exercise and your food, and think about your lifestyle and how you can reduce your stress. Number 2, exercise a little, but move a lot. Oh, I love that statement so much. Well, inside of my programs, I only talk about movement. I talk about movement in a few different ways. I just got a standing desk for Christmas, so I'm so excited about that because I felt like I needed to get more movement in. And then being a fitness instructor, when I come home, I'm sitting down. I'm sitting on my couch or at my desk with my dog. And because he follows me around everywhere, he sits under my desk or on the couch with me. Don't judge, I let my dog on the furniture. But I'm sitting a lot during the day. So I was like, I need to get moving more, have that NEAT factor, which is a physical training trainer term. If you've ever heard of it, we've talked about it here on the show before. So exercise a little. You don't have to spend hours in the gym, but move your body a lot. Get up from your desk. And then lastly, stress management. That third takeaway is big. Stress management plays such an important role. So can you incorporate more prayer? More meditation time. Use some apps to help you take a brain break from the screen, or turn your notifications off on your phone. Have more open conversations with your spouse about like budgeting. Have it because that's a stressful conversation always for me with my husband. Or have more open conversations with your kids. Get a lot of the stress out of you in order to really feel your best and have energy and feel and look good in your favorite leggings, right? So a habit loop to help you get more movement in and really just help you de-stress is it's like a standing desk and like a walking pad. I have a walking pad coming as well. So I'll let you know how it goes if I'm able to type and walk at the same time. And when we think of a habit loop, it's a cue, routine, reward. So maybe your cue is stress. You're feeling stressed. You feel the tension in your shoulders. Something's come through in your inbox that has like made your blood pressure boil. The routine is to stand up. Just stand up. Your reward is you feel better, right? Stand up, walk away, do some steps, do some squats, walk around your house, go and get some fresh air, even if it's cold outside. Get up. Don't get stuck. Move your body. Get all of those happy hormones in your body to combat the higher cortisol and the higher stress levels. Okay. So Michele, again, thank you so much for this conversation. Friends, I'll make sure to link all things Michele and her podcast, Healthy Beyond 40, in the show notes so you can connect with her. Listen to her show. If you love her show, which I know you will, go leave her a review. And hey, have you left me a review yet? Make sure to leave a written review here in iTunes. It lets me know if you're enjoying the show and that I'm putting out the content that you want to hear. Now, we're going to keep this food freedom habit hacking series going over the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, make sure to grab the Habit Hacking Masterclass. Emotional Eating Edition is totally free. Go listen before it goes away on the 21st. It's linked in the show notes, or go to habithackingmasterclass.com. All right, girl, I'll see you later this week. Hey girl, real quick before you go, did you know I have a secret podcast where I talk all about why most habit strategies don't work for us women? Spoiler alert, it's not our fault. Visit bit.ly/atomic habits for women. It's linked in the show notes to access my secret podcast series and have your biggest aha moment about why and how women have to do habits differently. And if you love the podcast, the number one way you can thank me is to leave a rating and review in iTunes. That way more mamas can find the show. Love and appreciate you, friend. We'll see you next time.